Hello, my name is Joshua Mugabi. I welcome you to Biology King. In this session, we are going to look at carbohydrates and lipids. Outline the structure organization of carbohydrates from monomers to polymers. Monosaccharides are joined together by condensation reactions to form polysaccharides, and water is produced. The covalent bond connecting the monosaccharides together is called glyosidic linkage. Polysaccharides can be digested into smaller oligosaccharides via hydrolysis reaction. Water is required. List 3 examples of monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides includes glucose, galactose, and fructose. The disaccharides include lactose, sucrose, and maltose. The polysaccharides include cellulose, glycogen, and starch. List 3 functions of carbohydrates within cells. Short-term energy source, that is from glycogen and starch. Structure components, for example, cellulose in plant cell walls. There is cell recognition and signaling. Those are glycoproteins in plasma membrane. Complete the following table comparing different polysaccharides of glucose. We have cellulose, amylose, Amylopectin, and glycogen. We want to look at their monomers, bonding, shape, and function. Let's start with cellulose. The monomer is beta glucose. The type of bonding is 1,4 linkage, and its shape is linear or sheets. The functions, it has structure components of plant cell wall. Then we have amylose. Its monomer is alpha glucose. Bonding, we have 1,4 linkages. Shape, it is a linear or helical shape, and its function, short-term energy, also storage in plant, a type of starch. Then we have another polysaccharide is amylopectin. Its monomer is alpha glucose. The bonding, 1,4 linkages and 1,6 linkages. Its shape, is less branched per 20 units, and its function for short-term energy and storage in plants. The type of starch. Another polymer or polysaccharide is glycogen. Its monomer is alpha glucose. Type of bonding, 1,4 linkages and 1,6 linkages. The shape, it is more branched per 10 units, and its function for short-term energy and storage in animal cells. Identify the main classes of lipids by completing the flow chart below. We have the lipids divided into 3 categories. They are simple lipids, where we have the esters of fatty acids. They are compound lipids, esters of fatty acids and other groups. Then there are derived lipids composed of hydrocarbons. Let's start with simple lipids, esters of fatty acids. We have the triglycerides and wax. Then in the compound lipids, we have the phospholipids and sphingolipids. The derived lipids, we have the steroids and cholesterols. List 5 different functions of lipids. 1. Storage of energy. For example, the triglyceride. 2. They have a hormonal role. We have example, steroids. 3. For insulation. Example, the sphingolipids. They are also for protection of organs, like the triglycerides and waxes. Then they are also for structure components, like the phospholipids. Compare the use of carbohydrates and lipids, those are the triglyceride, as energy sources. 1, that is storage. Triglycerides, long-term energy storage, whereas carbohydrates are short-term energy storage. Osmotic effect. The triglycerides have less effect on osmotic pressure, for they are hydrophobic and non-asolute. Digestion. Carbohydrates are easier to digest. They are more readily consumed and can be digested anaerobically. ATP yield. Lipid digestion has a higher ATP yield, that is approximately twice as much energy per gram. Solubility. Triglycerides are insoluble in water, and hence they are harder to transport. Explain why carbohydrates and lipids are used preferentially to proteins as an energy source. Protein digestion produces nitrogenous wastes due to the presence of an amino group. Now, the nitrogenous wastes are toxic to cells and must be removed via excretion by the kidneys. Differentiate between saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids do not have double bonds, possess maximum amount of hydrogen atoms. Unsaturated fatty acids, they possess double bonds. They may be monounsaturated or polyunsaturated. Contrast cis and trans isomers. We shall first look at the cis isomer. It has hydrogen on the carbon atoms where there is a double bond facing in the same direction. The trans, if you look at it, the hydrogen on the carbon atom having the double bonds are facing in opposite direction. Now let us go in details. For the cis isomer, the hydrogen atoms on the same side of the double bond. For the trans, the hydrogen atoms are on the opposite side of the double bond. Now the cis isomer, the double bond creates kink in fatty acid chain. Whereas for the trans, the double bond does not create kink in chain. For the cis isomer are loosely packed and they are usually liquids. Whereas for the trans, they are tightly packed and they are usually solids. Cis isomer, they occur commonly in nature, whereas in the trans isomers, they occur in processed foods. Cis isomer generally are considered to be good for health, whereas for the trans isomers, they are generally considered as bad for health. Identify the role of high density and low density lipoproteins. Low density lipoproteins transport cholesterol from the liver to the rest of the body. High density lipoproteins, they scavenge excess cholesterol and return them to the liver for disposal. Outline the effect of different types of fatty acids on the lipoprotein levels. Cis fats raise levels of HDL. That is, they lower the blood cholesterol. Saturated fats, they raise the levels of low DL. That is, they raise the blood cholesterol. The transverse fats raise levels of LDL and lower levels of HDL. Significantly, they raise blood cholesterol. Cis trans are generally considered good for health. Saturated and trans fats are considered bad for health. Describe the health implications associated with high level of blood cholesterol. High cholesterol levels leads to hardening and narrowing of the arteries. That is atherosclerosis. The cholesterol forms fatty deposits in the arterial lining, leading to the development of plaque. If a plaque ruptures, blood clotting will cause the vessel to become blocked. If coronary arteries become blocked, coronary heart disease will result, including heart attacks. Discuss the evidence for health risks associated with diets rich in lipids. 1. A positive correlation exists between intake of saturated fats and incidences of coronary heart diseases. Intervention studies show that lowering intake of saturated fats reduces onsets of CHD. In patients who died from CHD, fatty deposits with a high level of trans fats were found in arteries. Discuss the evidence against health risks associated with diets rich in lipids. Certain populations have high fat intakes but low rates of CHD. For example, the Maasai people tribe in Africa. Genetic factors play a significant role. Blood cholesterol levels only show a weak association to diet. Results from intervention studies are influenced by cohort, size, and composition, as well as study duration. Use the information included below to assess the weight of individuals according to biomass index categories. We have different categories. For underweight, that is below 18.5. Normal weight, between 18.5 to 24.9. Overweight, that is between 25 to 29.9. Obese class 1, that is between 30 to 34.9. Obese class 2, that is between 35 to 39.9. And obese class 3, that is above 40. So we shall look at the individual, then we shall calculate the biomass index, and we shall get the category. We have individual 1 with the height of 175 centimeters. His weight is 65 kilograms. Let's calculate his biomass index. His biomass index will be the weight in kilograms over height in meters squared. So that one will give us 65 divided by 1.75 times 1.75, which gives us 21.22. So the category, the person falls in the normal weight. We have individual 2 with the height of 190 centimeters. His weight is 130 kilograms. The biomass index will be 130 divided by 1.9 times 1.9. And this one gives us 36.01. So the category is obese class 2. Individual 3 has a height of 165 cubic centimeters, the weight of 50 kilograms. Biomass index will be 50 divided by 1.65 multiplied by 1.65, giving us 18.37. So the category is underweight. Hello friends, thank you very much for participating in Biology King. I encourage you to subscribe.